Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Liverpool. Hope you guys are enjoying the season. As a Liverpool fan, this is probably up there with last season for me so far. Probably the most enjoyable season I've ever watched of football. We've shown a strength and a mentality that I personally in my lifetime haven't seen from a Liverpool team. Maybe it's those of you who were around in the 80s saw that, but for myself, seeing this Liverpool team is so amazing, and football couldn't be happier at the moment. I'm always talking about football just because we are doing so well, and it's just great to be in this position. But anyways, enough of me waxing lyrically about my love for Liverpool. The game against Bournemouth was another game in which we showed all of our skills and qualities that we've been showing throughout actually last season and most of this season. Bournemouth is a team that we have kind of in the near history done really well against. We have had some tricky games against them. The 4-3 at the Vitality a couple of years ago springs to mind, but in the last year or so we've actually done pretty well against Bournemouth. My mind goes back to the game at the Vitality last season where Mo Salah scored a hat-trick. And then the game at Anfield last season where Wijnaldum scored that beautiful goal, which was just a dink over, I think, Boric, who was in goal at the time. So we've kind of always done okay against Bournemouth in terms of scoring. And I think that's because the way we're set up as a team, we enjoy and we do play better against teams that want to play. And Bournemouth are very much that type of team, to their credit. You know, they're not... a team that will set out their stall just not to concede, try and get a point, like a Rafa Benitez's Newcastle or something like that. They are a team that like to play. They've got the players who can play, and they do cause a threat. And I think obviously that is a threat for them, and that philosophy has worked so well for them. However, against teams like us that enjoy teams that kind of come onto us and that like to play football, we often do better against those teams because the team opens up, which means we've got a bit more space to play in between the lines, and just play those passes into the front three, get them running beyond the defenders, and we just always perform better against them. Obviously, in this team there were again a raft of changes. Obviously, after midweek, where there were I think 5 changes, there were 7 changes I think in the team. For the Bournemouth game, with obviously Alisson coming back in after his red card suspension. I don't know about me, but I always thought that a straight red card was a 3-game suspension. I don't know why I thought that, but maybe it was previously like that or not. I'm not sure. But Alisson was back in goal, so it was good to see him back. But it was good for Adrian to get a little run out in the Everton game. Trent obviously didn't start, but I guess the only downer for us in this game was that Lovren had to come off. I think Klopp has come out and said that it was kind of precautionary and it was just kind of a strain rather than any type of injury. So hopefully that doesn't leave him out for too long. He may have missed the Salzburg game, I think Klopp said in his post-match. But I think he said he's optimistic that he'll be back for Watford, which will be great. But Trent obviously came on. Joe Gomez got another start, another defender who we talked about in the last couple of episodes, maybe not getting as many chances as he would like. But again, based on the couple of injuries we've had, now it's this opportunity. Robertson continuing and Van Dijk in defence. The midfield was changed up again, with Henderson coming back into the team, Milner, and also Naby Keita, who Klopp very much admitted that he would have probably liked to play in the Merseyside derby, but just wasn't brave enough to. So it was great to see him back in the team. He's a player that, before he came to Liverpool, promised so much, and he has actually promised quite a lot when he started at the beginning of last season, and then when he started to pick up some form. But he has been hampered by so many injuries in his time at Liverpool that we haven't really been able to see him perform well for a consistent period of time. So hopefully now this is that time, and fingers crossed he doesn't get injured, because I think a couple of more long injury spells and he could start fading out of the team because Klopp just can't rely on him. But it was good to see him back in the team anyway. And then up front was looking a bit more familiar with Salah back in the team with Firmino, but Oxlade-Chamberlain playing off the left with Mane given a rest. And I think Mane 100% deserves a rest. He played all of the African Cup of Nations, got to the final, and then pretty much came straight back into our team with very little pre-season. And he's pretty much been the mainstay of our team and carrying us actually in a lot of games. So he definitely deserved a rest. So it was good to see again Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the team. He scored, I think before this game, he scored 4 in his last 5 starts. So since he's come back as well, he's been pretty prolific in terms of goal getting as well. And it was actually, the first goal was actually very reminiscent of a run at a goal that we would score when Mane was playing. Jordan Henderson picked the ball up kind of inside our own half, just maybe about 5-10 yards from the halfway line. There was absolutely no pressure on him, and almost like a Tom Brady style quarterback pass, he absolutely pinged the ball over the top of the Bournemouth defenders to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, running in on it from the left, coming inside, and he was able to just get a toe past Ramsdale, and the ball was in. And it was very much like, that's exactly the type of run that Mane would make, and so I guess maybe that was something that Klopp was talking to Oxlade-Chamberlain about, and something that's worked so well for us in the past, those runs from outside in that Mo Salah does from the right and Sadio Mane does as well so successfully from the left. So that was really, really good to see, because I don't think, that's not a natural thing for Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's grown up playing central midfield mostly. He's obviously played out on the wing sometimes, but his natural position is central midfield, where I think he still is his best and will ultimately play the vast majority of his football. But it was good to see him making that run in. It was a fantastic ball over from Henderson. I think Henderson is one of those players where I think he actually has a really, really good array of passing, but I don't think we've necessarily seen it as much when he moved into that more advanced midfield position with Fabinho coming in at the number 6 role. So for him to go back into that number 6 role, it gave him that bit more freedom to spray the ball across the pitch, because he very much does have the ability to do that. So it was really good to get that first goal. Before that, we'd kind of been toiling a bit, I would say. We were holding the ball, kind of passing it around relatively well with good tempo, but we just weren't able to get any shots away on the goal or create any good chances. So that goal was really important to break the deadlock. Obviously, Bournemouth had the unfortunate thing of Nathan Ake getting injured. I think that really demoralised the team. I think Jack Simpson, who came on for them, who was his first Premier League start as a young centre back. I think that really demoralised them, and I think as ruthless teams should do, we capitalised on that, and soon after was when Oxlade-Chamberlain got his goal. But then after that, we actually got the second goal, and the second goal really impressed me. And the reason it really impressed me is because Bournemouth were playing quite defensive with 2 lines of 4, and what Trent Alexander-Arnold did, which Joe Gomez, maybe because it's not just Joe Gomez's game, was able to quickly get the ball into Keita, who was actually between the lines. So if you watch the highlights of that goal, you will see Keita picking up the ball in between the midfield and the defenders, and from that position he was able to get the ball into Mo Salah in the box. And as always is the case, Mo Salah just attracts defenders. I think there was almost 3 defenders around him, which left Keita loads of space in the box, and it was a beautiful little back heel from Mo Salah. It was just a little deft touch, and Naby Keita had all the time in the world to just dink the ball past Aaron Ramsdale. And yeah, that was a really, really good goal. I think it was it's definitely my favourite goal from the game. I think just because Keita broke those lines, and I think when he plays, that's what he needs to be doing. I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is also really, really good at that when he plays in that central midfield position. But I just think that often we go sideways and we try and get the ball into Mo Salah down the line or something like that. But being able to break the lines and get that player that links kind of Jordan Henderson or the number 6 and the strikers, that kind of player in between that space, is really important to the way we play and when we are successful. So it was really good to see that in that goal. And then, yeah, in the second half, the tone was set very early. Bournemouth obviously kind of at that point knew the game was up almost, and they weren't really pressing us too much. And yeah, the game just got a little bit slow from their perspective, and so the onus was really on us to keep the pace up, make sure we kept the ball moving quickly, and to make sure we just didn't relax and give them a few chances or something like that. But what we did do, which is really good at the beginning of the second half, is we did exactly what we should have done. Is we kept the tempo up, we kept the ball moving, and that was showed very much in the third goal for Mo Salah. So it was again a beautiful through ball pass from Naby Keita. It was actually very reminiscent of I think the Shaqiri goal that we scored against Everton in the midweek. It was a nice through ball behind the defenders, and then allowing the left-footed player coming in from the right, again that outside to in run, able to slot the ball past Aaron Ramsdale. And I think that was Mo Salah's first Premier League away goal of the season. So by no means has he been having a bad season at all. I think we're always, and I think I'm guilty of this, always going to compare Mo Salah back to that first season. And I think anything in comparison to that is never going to seem as good. But actually, he's still posting very, very good numbers, and he's still a really, really important part of our team. Obviously, he got the assist in this game as well, so he's important to our team, not only from the goal side, but from the assist side as well. So it was really good to see him get on the score sheet as well. Again, he will play a huge role for us during this Christmas period. It was good to see him get on the score sheet. I think Firmino had a bit of a quiet game. Watching it, he did link up as much as he could, but I just felt like he just didn't get himself kind of into the game as much as he could have done. I think he probably could have done with dropping a little deeper, and him being the one that maybe fell between the lines. But I feel that he just got a little bit lost in the game, I don't think it was his best game, but it's okay. We won 3-0. We can't have everything. So that was still a very good performance overall. I think beyond the third goal, I think they knew the game was over. And I think when Callum Wilson got injured as well, I think he felt his hamstring as well. I think Bournemouth were just like, look, we just need to protect our players now. They've got more games coming that are going to be more vital to their season than this game. And so they I think just took the game and kind of just go, well, we'll just make sure it's no worse than 3-0. And I think we stepped off the gas a little bit as well, thinking about Salzburg on Tuesday as well. But it was also really good to see Curtis Jones get some Premier League minutes. He's obviously a local lad. He's obviously got the winning goal the winning penalty in the EFL Cup against Arsenal. So his obvious confidence is up, and now that he's got some Premier League minutes as well, that will really help his confidence. And I actually think he's a really, really good player. I've seen some of his highlights and play when he plays for the under-23s. He looks really promising, so hopefully he can kind of make the transition into the first team, play a few more minutes. I think he definitely will be playing in the Aston Villa EFL Cup game, so hopefully he can do well there. I think after the third goal, we kind of just saw the game out. And the one thing we got, which I think Klopp, in all the interviews and posts I've seen after the game, is we got the clean sheet. And I read a couple of interviews with Jurgen Klopp and talking about how himself and James Milner and everyone was really emphasising the point of a clean sheet in this game. In the last couple of episodes, I've talked about how we haven't kept clean sheets, but it's been okay because we have been scoring multiple goals. However, we did need to fix this because we may not be able to do that in all games, and particularly against games. Salzburg in the week is a good example. Leicester on Boxing Day, we may not be able to score 2-3 goals, and so we have to fix what's been going on in our defence in terms of clean sheets, and that's why the clean sheet today or against Bournemouth was so important, because we just haven't had one. I think it's something like 14 games or 13 games or something, so which is a very, very long time. But praise to Klopp, he emphasises to the players and praise to the players as well for executing that, because they really did. Obviously we didn't have too much defending to do, but that's almost when it's harder to get a clean sheet, because you have to stay concentrated for those one or two moments where the opposition may have an attack. So a clean sheet was really good, particularly going into the Salzburg game. That is really, really positive, where a clean sheet will be great for us. Obviously, if we get a clean sheet, we'll be guaranteed to go through. So that was really, really good and a really positive thing to see. Obviously, we were able to rotate the squad. I think, obviously, he didn't want Trent to play, but Trent had to come on. But again, the rotation of the squad didn't have any negative impacts on the way we played, our tempo or anything like that. So that was really positive. So it looks like, although we are rotating the team and Klopp is changing a few players in and out, it isn't having an adverse effect on the team and the way we play, which is the thing you always fear when you're chopping and changing the team. But onwards we go to Salzburg next, hopefully getting through to the Champions League knockout stages in the new year. But next time up we face Watford. Obviously managerless Watford, who have struggled a bit so far, but I'm pretty sure we will beat them. I'm hoping. They have looked pretty abject most of the season, so I'm pretty confident that we will beat them. But thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes, and make sure you tune in again for a review of the Watford game.